death of Sunanda Pushkar, a woman who had lived her life so publicly, was now a matter of national debate. The initial reports were of but the police, pushed by the public's thirst for answers, began to dig deeper. The true message was clear. She felt betrayed, humiliated. Her public image, the one she had so carefully built, was falling apart right before her eyes. When he had the door opened with the help of a hotel staff, what he saw would change the course of his life forever. Sunanda Pushkar, the wife, the woman who had once been a brilliant bloom in a garden, lay lifeless on the bed. The room was still, quiet. Imagine a life that seemed perfect from the outside. A glamorous socialite, a brilliant politician, a power couple who had it all. Today's story is just about that. Welcome to Welted Marigold, where we share dark and mysterious stories from South Asia and beyond. I'm your storyteller Ambika, and today's story is about Sunanda Pushkar. Imagine a hidden world of jealousy, secrets, and a tragic death that left a nation stunned. No, this is not a tabloid story. This is a true story that we are going to be unraveling today. But to understand the end, we must first go back to the very beginning, to the green valleys of Kashmir, where Sunanda Pushkar was born in 1962. She wasn't born into wealth, but into a world of order and pride, shaped by her father, respected officer in the Indian Army. He was a man of quiet strength, a soldier who believed in duty, while her mother was the heart of their home, a woman who brought warmth and grace into their lives and into Sunanda's life too. Sunanda was the youngest of the three. She was a lively, restless soul. Unlike other girls, whose futures seemed to be set in stone, the usual path, marriage, family, a simple home life, Sunanda's eyes held a fierce, powerful fire. She was a flower bud, wanting to bloom not in a quiet garden, but in the bright sun of the world she knew awaited for her. Her early life was always changing, a series of military camps, each new place, each new lesson in how to fit in and how to adapt. She carried the spirit of her Kashmiri roots with her, the toughness of a person that can grow even on hard ground. But this changing life also gave her a deep-seated need, a need for stability, a strong desire for a solid home, a stable one that she truly never had. This would be a hidden yet key part of her life story. Her journey began with an early marriage to Sanjay Raina, a Kashmiri Pandit who she met in college. The marriage was short, ending after a few years. After their first breakup, Sunanda, with her infant son, set out for a new life. She moved to Dubai, a city of big dreams, where she married her second husband, Sujit Menon, a man from Kerala, a close friend of her former husband. For a brief moment, it seemed like she had found the stability that she was always yearning for, the one that she wanted. They built a life and a family, but fate had other plans. In 1997, Sujit was killed in a tragic car accident. Suddenly, Sunanda was alone again, a young widow with a son to raise all by herself. The loss was a tough test, turning her into a woman of great strength and a smart businesswoman. Thousands of miles away, in a world of intellectual privilege, a boy named Shashi Tharoor was carefully building his own destiny. He was a genius, a master with words even as a child. His childhood was a mix of languages and ideas. Born in London in 1956, into a family of scholars and diplomats, his path seemed set. While Sunanda was learning to be tough in India, Shashi was mastering the art of perfect sentence in the quiet halls of his education, ending with a high-level degree from Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy. He was a man of the mind, a citizen of the world who spoke with an eloquent, almost poetic grace. His ambition was not a wildfire, but a cool, steady flame, a desire to reach the highest levels of global diplomacy. His world was one of conferences, high-level meetings, and a carefully managed public image. He was the golden boy, the smart one, whose brilliance seemed almost effortless. He had married twice before meeting Sunanda. First to Diplomat Mukherjee, and later to Krista Giles, a Canadian. His life too was a series of climbs, a testament to a man always on the move, always looking for the next big thing to achieve. They were from two different worlds, two different flowers growing in two different gardens, unaware that a single fateful gust of wind would one day bring them together. Sunanda's journey to the world of fame was a testament to her strong will. She had transformed herself into a socialite, a businesswoman, a woman who understood the language of money and power. She learned how to command a room, how to make the right connections. Her business, an event management firm, then a real estate firm, allowed her to move in important circles. Her life became a carefully planned show, a dazzling front built on a foundation of hard work and big dreams. She moved with an easy grace, her laughter echoing in the fancy ballrooms of Dubai. She was beautiful, but it was her personality, a mix of vulnerability and strength, that drew people in. She was like a flower that had finally bloomed and the world was her garden. She married a hotelier named Sanjay before meeting Shashi Tharoor. Her life was a constant climb, a woman reinventing herself again and again. Shashi Tharoor too had reached the top of his world. He was the Under Secretary General of the United Nations, a man who had come close to becoming the head of the world's most powerful diplomatic body. A journey that ultimately ended in a diplomatic loss to Ban Ki-moon. But he returned to India, a hero, a symbol of modern India. Smart, ambitious, and a good speaker. He became a member of parliament and a minister of state for external affairs, his star brighter than ever. He was master of his field, a man whose public image was as carefully built as a master clock. But then came the IPL, the Indian Premier League. It was a cricket league that went beyond just a sport, becoming a glitzy, high-stakes game of money and power. The two worlds, Sashi's political one and Sunanda's socialite one, collided in this mix of Indian glamour and ambition. We'll take a look at a news clip from a decade ago that talks about the IPL controversy and the connections between Shashi Tharoor and Sunanda Pushkar. Take a look at the video here.
And of course, key to this entire controversy is Sunanda Pushkar, said to be a very close friend of Shashi Tharoor's. Just who is she? Well, Neha Khanna is now joining us for more on this. Neha, what have you found out about her? Of course, we've seen the Kochi team come out in its defense of Sunanda Pushkar, saying that she did deserve that free equity. What more do we know about her this evening?
Well, Natasha, here are the details. A close friend of Shashi Tharoor's, Sunanda Pushkar, has been seen with him at various social events in the recent past. She has, in fact, been introduced several times as Tharoor's friend from Canada. Tharoor has acknowledged that he knows her very well. There is, in fact, growing speculation that she is engaged to the junior foreign minister, but there has been no official confirmation of that yet. Sunanda, who is in her 40s, runs a spa in Dubai. She also holds an executive post with an infrastructure company owned by the Emirate government. She has also worked with advertising firms, a travel agency in Dubai, as well as with an IT firm in Toronto. She belongs to Sopore in the Kashmir Valley. Her father is a retired lieutenant colonel.
A group that bid for the Kochi Tuskers Kerala cricket team was linked to Shashi Tharoor. The quiet diplomat was thrown into a media circus. It was in this whirlwind that the public first saw them together. Sunanda and Shashi, brilliantly mismatched couple. a diplomat, and a socialite. Their love story felt like a modern fairy tale. Sunanda's stake in the company became a national headline, a scandal that forced Shashi to quit his ministerial position. The political world saw it as a clear conflict of interest. Claims that she had received free sweat equity worth a lot of money, a clear favor in return for a service. The public, however, saw a love story. They were a couple who had faced a storm together, their bond seemingly made stronger by the tough public attention. This is the event that cemented their relationship in the public eye, but also planted the first thorny seeds of public obsession and a scrutiny they would never be able to escape. The two soon married, but the beautiful image was cracking, and beneath it, the thorny vines of jealousy and anger were starting to wrap around them. Sunanda had become more than just a socialite. She was a wife now, a public figure, a woman whose every move was now being watched closely. The pressure was huge. Their private moments were becoming rare, replaced by a constant public show. It is here that the final devastating blow, the public Twitter war with a Pakistani journalist named Meher Tarar, began. It began as a whisper, a rumor of a small, close connection between Shashi and this other woman. It quickly turned into a full-blown public fight, a raw, unfiltered stream of angry words and pain. Sunanda, the woman who had always been in control of her public image, now found herself losing control. On January 15, 2014, Shashi Tharoor's Twitter account was flooded with what seemed to be private messages between him and Meher Tarar. Sunanda, in a series of tweets from her own account, accused Meher Tarar of stalking her husband and being an agent for the ISI. It was a desperate public cry for help in a world of polite lies. The true message was clear. She felt betrayed, humiliated. Her public image, the one she had so carefully built, was falling apart right before her eyes. Here's a look at the public statements and interviews that came out during this tumultuous time, offering a glimpse into the emotional turmoil.
It seems you're accusing a Pakistani journalist of stalking the minister?
Well, stalking probably might be a strong word. What I am accusing her of is, at the drop of a hat, she wants to come to India. She wants to interview him. She goes around with him because she's doing this big doe-eyed thing about wanting to have a close relationship with him.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Sunanda, initially Shashi Tharoor had claimed that his account had been hacked, so there was clearly some confusion there regarding the tweets.
Well, his account was hacked, but mine and his account was hacked, but I did send out two or three messages on her account.
Right, we've seen those tweets this morning, but what of the earlier tweets? It was claimed that there were BBMs that came to Mr. Tharoor's account that you had tweeted to the journalist and you tweeted to the public.
No, actually, both our accounts are still not working because Twitter is trying to sort it out, and it's completely crashed. Our BBMs from our phones, the mobile BBMs. So today, the BBMs that I've given her directly are from a laptop.
Taking to Twitter with all these allegations, do you think that was the right thing to do, and won't it be damaging to your husband's career?
No, I think I was just trying to tell her to stay away from him because it's election year. I don't want him to be, like I said, the one that came from his account was hacked because I don't have his phone with me. The only Twitter, the 3 tweets I've sent to her today is basically that a woman should keep away from a woman's husband. It's wrong.
But there are many who are criticizing you of jeopardizing your husband's career. What would you say to that?
I really don't care about that. I think everybody jeopardized my career during IPL and I didn't say anything. Also, I hate cricket. If I'm going to turn around, if some people are going to turn around and tell me that, can you please help us with getting sponsorship? It's a big mistake that I made. That those days I kept quiet and did not defend myself. I did not make a single penny. I am tired of people telling me 100 crores, 50 crores, 60 crores, 70 crores. My bank accounts, I have gone to ED, shown them my bank accounts from Dubai, everywhere. I've been in real estate and I've made my money in a very hard-working manner, and I do not like anybody throwing an innuendo at me. Oh, the 70 crores, you bought this, you bought that. I'm a very hard-working woman, and those days I didn't keep quiet. So this time I decided that if a woman wants to destroy my husband and pretend we have a bad marriage.
A day later, the Twitter fight was over, with the couple giving a joint statement saying they were happily married, but the damage was done. They had a public fight, and the world had seen the cracks in their perfect marriage. Sunanda's friends and family, those who truly knew her, spoke of a woman who was increasingly distressed and fragile. She was a person in a world of luxury and glamour, but she was a person now who was drowning in her own emotional pain. She felt really alone. It was January 17, 2014, the Leela Palace Hotel, an oasis of luxury and quiet calm in the heart of New Delhi. Was a place of secrets though. Room 345 was a safe place, a temporary home for a couple who had been living on the edge. The air inside was thick with tension, a suffocating silence broken by hushed talks. Sunanda's movements were strange. She spoke to her family, to her friends, her voice filled with frantic worry. There were whispers of a final fight, of an emotional end to a long, simmering storm. She had reportedly told a relative, "I am going to die." She also told a journalist that she would tell everything. She's going to come clean. The hotel staff later reported hearing a loud, brief argument. Then, silence. Shashi Tharoor returned to the hotel room around 8:30 p.m. after a Congress party meeting. He found the door locked from the inside. When he had the door opened with the help of a hotel staff, what he saw would change the course of his life forever. Sunanda Pushkar, the wife, the woman who had once been a brilliant bloom in a garden, lay lifeless on the bed. The room was still, quiet. The air was thick with the smell of an unknown medicine. The silence was deafening, a final, irreversible full stop to a life of drama and a death that would launch a national spectacle. The news hit the nation like a thunderclap. The death of Sunanda Pushkar, a woman who had lived her life so publicly, was now a matter of national debate. The initial reports were of but the police, pushed by the public's thirst for answers, began to dig deeper. The investigation was a circus. Media channels rushed in, each one breaking down every single detail, from the marks on her body to the contents of her last tweets. The first autopsy, done by a panel of 3 doctors at AIIMS, concluded that Sunanda died a sudden, unnatural death. They also noted several injury marks on her body, including a scrape on her cheek and a strange bite mark on her hand. For the next several months, the case became a confusing maze of conflicting reports. The final AIIMS report stated that the cause of death was poisoning. The police, acting on this medical opinion, filed a formal complaint for murder. The doctor who headed the AIIMS medical board, Dr. Sudhir Gupta, later claimed he was pressured to change the report to say it was a natural death, a claim that was denied by the hospital. The political and media drama was constant. The fallen petals were being picked apart, one by one, for a country to openly see. To understand the initial shock and confusion, we can look at the news reports that followed the death, with some suggesting suicide and others pointing a more sinister truth. Take a look at this video here.
Mystery surrounding Sunanda Pushkar's death is only deepening. The STM conducting the probe has also ordered for a further probe which will now investigate both the suicide and the murder angles. In the meantime, the Delhi police is also going through the CCTV footage of the hotel to gather any vital clues.
The probe in the death of Union HRD Minister Shashi Tharoor's wife's death has gained momentum, with the Delhi police now looking at suicide as well as the murder angle. As mystery deepens over Sunanda's death, Tharoor has found support from Sunanda's son Shiv, who insists that the couple were happy, refuting the possibility of a suicide. His unconditional support coming despite the mysterious circumstances surrounding Sunanda Pushkar's death. Meanwhile, Times Now has learnt that Union HRD Minister Shashi Tharoor has offered to quit, not wanting to be a liability to the Congress party. With a thorough police investigation going on, the reason behind Sunanda Pushkar's untimely death will be out soon.
The police, in a 3,000-page charge sheet, named Shashi Tharoor as the only person accused. The charges were helping a person commit and of cruelty. The prosecution argued that he had mentally and physically tortured his wife, leading her to take her own life. The legal battle dragged on for over 7 years, a slow, difficult walk towards a resolution that seemed to never arrive. Shashi Tharoor, a man of words and ideas, was now a man on trial. His defense team argued that the prosecution's case was built on guesses and media talk, but not on facts. They pointed to the conflicting medical reports, the lack of clear evidence of poisoning, and the fact that Sunanda had a history of illness. The defense also said that Sunanda's death could have very well been caused by an overdose of Alprax, an anxiety drug which was found in her stomach. They also argued that suicide cannot be helped by a partner unless there is clear and convincing evidence of a criminal act. The legal chapter was a complex and tough one, with arguments and counter-arguments lasting months, if not years. The case was a harsh reminder of how a media trial can sometimes be more important than the rule of law. August 2021, after years of legal arguments, police reports and public talk, a Delhi court finally cleared Shashi Tharoor of all charges. The judge stated that there was not enough evidence to proceed with the case. The legal chapter was closed, but the questions remained. Sunanda Pushkar's story is a tragedy, not just of a death, but of a life swallowed by the very public image she had so carefully created and curated. She was a woman who seemingly had it all, but in the end, she was alone. She was alone in her own cage. My perspective as someone from the subcontinent is one of deep sadness. This tragedy shows the huge pressures on women in the public eye in our culture. The close watching, the different rules, the unforgiving nature of a society that judges them for their ambition while celebrating the men who do the same. It's a testament to how the old way of thinking, though hidden in modern times, can still crush the spirit of a woman. It's a harsh reminder that even with all the money and the fame in the world, a person can still feel utterly trapped. Sunanda's case leaves us with a lot to think about. With the way that her life ended, will we ever know the truth? Was it a single devastating moment, or the final chapter of a slow, painful fall? Was the media the bad guy, or a reflection of her own intense curiosity? And in our pursuit of fame and a perfect life, are we unknowingly building our own cages? It's a tragedy from South Asia that will continue to haunt us for years to come. We will be back with another story soon. Until then, stay kind, stay safe.